Welcome back to Tech Talks from Commercial Baking. In this episode, sponsored by Puratos, I'm speaking with Constance Macri, R&D Manager for Bakery Mixes and Improvers, and Jason Peacock, Director of National Accounts and U.S. Technical Sales. And we are going to talk about formulating with bread and cake improvers. Jason and Connie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Jody, for
having us,
having us.
Jody.
Okay, so this is a topic that I don't often get to sort of dive into. So I'm excited about this conversation because I think I'm going to learn a lot from you both. So I'm going to start off just at the very beginning. Connie, can you walk me through just the basic functions of improvers? What are they and how do they work for applications like dough conditioning, texture, and shelf life?
All right. Glad you asked this question. It is very much the bread and butter of what I do, no pun intended. But improvers or dough conditioners, as they're more often known in the industry, help to accomplish a few different purposes or endpoints for commercial bakers. So we break these down into three different buckets. One of them you've already mentioned, dough conditioners. And these really help bakers boost performance of flour or their raw materials. They also facilitate dough processing and provide kind of an insurance policy against various environmental, process, and skilled labor factors that are bound to be present in an industrial production line. Secondly, there are texture improvers. So these are meant to ensure consistency of product parameters on finished good attributes. So for example, if you want to make sure that your pizza crust is always nicely browned by the end of a short bake, or that a brioche really melts in your mouth consistently every time, this is where we would add a different type of improver. And finally, there are shelf life improvers. And these do exactly what they say. They help to expand the shelf life of a product or a dough, whether it's in a long freezer scenario, during distribution after baking, or at the point of sale, be that for 7 days or 70 days or more.
Absolutely. And, we talk a lot about ingredient technology benefiting the finished product like that. But something that I'm always curious about is more of the operational benefits and how sort of those two work together when the product is on the line and being made, basically. So, are there ways that improvers can help increase efficiency and reduce waste?
Yeah, definitely. So from an operational benefit standpoint, there's a few ways this can be done. First of all, you're building in a tolerance for the variation of raw materials. We typically see that flours, even though they are standardized at the mill, they're still going to have some sort of natural spec differential, whether it's in protein content or quality, falling number, all that good stuff. So this is where we would add an improver to balance that out. And when you are balancing out, you're increasing the output of your line in production. Improvers are also going to add tolerance to conditions or the environment on the line. And we're talking here maybe humidity, if it's higher one day than the next in a more southern production plant. And then of course your skilled labor level, it's going to help to balance out all of the things that could affect the process if you don't have a master baker on the line running the dough, making sure they know what it looks like. And then another operational benefit is to manipulate the dough rheology, which is how the dough flows on the line in order to really increase what is getting to the end of the line before bake with less downtime and less dough waste. And so that also segues into the latter part of your question. You're reducing your errors at the point of mixing by building in a buffer for overmixing with maybe some strengthening agents. And then you're also shortening production times. And this can include adding an extensibility agent to actually decrease your mix time or quicker coloring in the oven, all of which can shorten the production time. And then another way to reduce waste throughout the process is to actually add a shelf life improver. And that can help by expanding your distribution and expanding the baked good lifespan on the shelf for a finished product.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so there's another aspect that I'm curious about. Jason, I'm going to throw this one to you because it's sort of the business impact of using improvers. So, how can this help bakers in terms of cost savings and even improving their bottom line?
That's a great question. Connie covered some of this as we talked about reducing waste. So that's less that you're throwing away, that's more that you're putting on the shelf into your bottom line. We do a lot of this through our modular improvers, which target specific function that we're trying to reduce that cost or offset a spike that may have occurred through a commodity or offset something that may occur like the avian flu, higher egg costs. So as we come in and we look to formulate or add some of these modular improvers, we're targeting specific functions within that dough that kind of help balance that flow that goes up and down with the cost, and it adds stability. So in addition to the ingredients, we also like to include people like Connie, our R&D managers, which are in that applied sciences, as the knowledge that she's thrown out here so far on this tech talk. We also bring in our application team, which is execution within the plant. In the combination between ingredients, our R&D people, and our application team, we really try to formulate so that we balance that to lower your cost and make sure we're hitting what you're targeting.
So another thing that bakers are really kind of going through, and I think it plays into both the business side and the formulating side, and consumer demand is changing so fast. I mean, people change their mind quickly. So how can using improvers help commercial bakers formulate products at scale that can appeal to a wide variety of people,
Wow, that's a question that we could spend quite a bit of time here to unpack.
right?
And but to kind of keep it small, I would say that as customers look to expand their portfolio, targeting certain demographics, targeting certain trends or needs, here we look to improvers and our technical advisors team, which are more of our concept developers, and our marketing team, to where they bring in that idea, they bring in the scope of trends. And sometimes in instances like this, we look at texture. As Connie mentioned previously, texture plays a big role for what you're trying to target. In that, we like to start with, we call it what's your texture? And through that process of what's your texture, we align on the vernacular of what we're both saying, what we're both looking for. An example of some of those is like long bite. Long bite would be that New York style bagel. Or there's a combination of those attributes you may be looking for, short bite with melting. That would be like your traditional French brioche with lots of butter. In addition to what we did in the beginning with the technical advisors and the marketing team, and then we're bringing in the different attributes for what we're looking for. What's your texture? We kind of have the complete package that we can bring in. Also, we have the ability to bring in our sensory team, which we can look at Sensibus. Did we hit the mark with a central location testing? And our Sensa Squad, which is that in-home use panel. So between the combination of everything, we can make sure that we get to what consumers are looking for as they expand their portfolio targeting specific demographics.
I love that. I love that. So, Connie, Jason talked about how you sort of come into the process in developing these products from a business standpoint, but I am curious, can you walk me through how the R&D team works with bakers to make some of these ideas come to fruition?
Definitely. Yes. So at Puratos, obviously, we are the sum of our parts, whether it's R&D, marketing, sales, all of that. But specifically for the R&D team, we really try to go in with the people and the products slash approach style of solving problems. Our R&D team is divided into three main groups. Firstly, there's the applied science group. And so I fall into this. And our role is to really understand the theory of the science and the technology that we're going to be formulating into our solutions. So we'll be, the men behind the curtain that are kind of doing the back work before a product is actually brought to the line. Then there are our technical application specialists. And what this group does is they're really specialized in concept development. So we have a lot of people from professional patisserie backgrounds, pastry chefs, chocolatiers, master bakers. And this team will really spark ideas based on trends, based on consumer preference for our customers at hand. And we'll give them maybe a jumping off point for developing a product. And then finally, there is our application specialist team. These guys and gals are really the bridge between theory and a product, and then commercialization of that item in a production scenario when creating a viable finished good for the consumer. So they'll see something, they will take our solution, they'll go into a plant and they'll say, this is fantastic. However, real life scenario is a little bit different. Go back to applied science. We need to adapt based on this. Can you make those changes? Okay, great. Take it out, implement it, and boom. So the people really come into play, especially when we're combining these three groups within the R&D team for development of a product that really suits the needs of the customer. Then we really go at this from a products and approach standpoint as well. We're a vertically integrated company for emulsifiers and enzymes. We really have a history of expertise in our raw materials and finished products. And because of this history, we have a really high adaptability when pivoting from traditional improvers that have maybe emulsifiers to a more clean label approach with enzymes demanded in the market today. And along with this tech toolbox, we've really invested heavily in local innovation positions. So these focus more on expediting application of the research and science theory in a local regional production scenario. So for example, the US industrial commercial bakery sector is very different than one that you would find in Europe. Because we have the local innovation here now in the US, it's allowed us to address the setting specific challenges that our customers are coming to us with. And then finally, we really dive deeply into the different equipment and processing methods that can impact dough and finished good performance for our customers when formulating our solutions. And so for those in the industry, we're saying, oh, you have the same recipe, same process, except that a ram and shear machine is being used instead of an extrusion divider. And we try to dig into the granular aspects of that to understand from a very holistic way how we are solving these issues for our people out there.
We talked at the very beginning how I love thinking of ingredient technology in relationship to how it's processed. So that's really cool. It's all kind of ingrained in that entire R&D process. Okay, I just have one question left, and I am going to kick this one to you, Jason. What is the best way to get in touch and learn more about your improvers and how they can help in their operation?
Absolutely. Bakers can reach out to their local sales reps. If they don't have a local sales rep, then obviously they can go to our website, www.puratos.us. In addition to reaching out on the website, they can just send us an email at infous@puratos.com. One way or the other, we'll respond and make sure that we take care of your needs.
Well, Jason and Connie, thank you so much for this amazing conversation. It was really educational for me, and I'm sure our audience loved it too. And I just appreciate you taking your time to tell us all more about improvers in the Puratos portfolio and how they can help with product development.
We're here anytime. We appreciate the opportunity to share.